Hello, I'm making this video for anyone with an RS2000 who has had a gear stick break off. I've actually had a couple do this to me, and I don't know if this procedure applies to non-RS cars. I can't believe they're much different, to be honest. But anyway, huge thanks to forum member Terry Stewart, who got me all fired up to have a go at repairing rather than replace. And the problem with these sticks is the little ball at the base of the stick, which literally breaks into pieces.
Right, I'm afraid I didn't take a picture before I dismantled the thing, but this is where it usually sits. Not sure what the original material is, but it's some kind of nylon or plasticky thing, and this is the only part that needs replacing. The rest of the job is in the strip down and reassemble. I did take some pictures along the way though, in the hope that this operation was successful, so let's get on with it. This is our starting point. The offending ball is completely missing here, and the circled area is where it would sit. In this shot you can see the ridge that the ball will sit on at the base, so it's pretty obvious that everything above this line will need to be slid off the stick to allow the new ball to slide down from the top to finally sit on that ridge, and that's where the work starts. The gear stick is made up of two separate sections. The chrome part fits over the steel stalk via a rubber bush, which is an interference fit secured by a pin which is pushed through both sections and through the bush. So the first thing to do is to pull or push out the pin. It really can be a bit of a pickle to get out, and if you're really having major grief, then obviously just drill the darn thing out. The chrome section should, in theory, now pull off of the rubber bush. Yeah, right, you're going to need some help with this in the shape of a hot air gun to soften the rubber enough just to get a pair of grips on and wiggle the thing off. Easy, eh? Nah, it's a pig of a job, but very satisfying when it plops off like a sink plunger off a drain. Like so. Now, the next obstacle will be to get the rubber bush off of the metal stalk. Oh, what fun that will be. I used a small screwdriver between the rubber and the metal to create a gap to allow copious amounts of WD-40 to be squirted inside. Well, of course, other penetrating oils are available, like so. Now, I then found out that the bush was actually bonded to a metal sleeve at its core, which is why the damn thing was so difficult to get out. When you try this, you may want to try and get the whole thing out complete with more copious amounts of penetrating oil. Please let me know in the comments if you succeed. With the rubber out of the way, the sleeve was fairly easy to remove with the help of a piece of slate to protect the rubber below, which allowed me to apply some heat to the sleeve and then a pair of grips and copious amounts of, well, you get the picture. You can now slide all the components off of the stalk, keep them in order because you might forget how to put them back. Or maybe that's just me and my age. Now, the important part. What to use as a replacement for the ball that had mysteriously disintegrated to dust and started this whole malarkey. After extensive research on the net, I found a company called WDS Components, and they manufacture a thermoplastic ball knob. I think they're used on industrial machines as knobs on the handles, but don't quote me on that. Anyway, they make them in several sizes, and I wasn't sure about the radius I would need, and I'm nowhere near clever enough to work it out mathematically, so I ordered several of each size. The one I ended up using was the thermoplastic ball knob taper push fit, and the size I actually used was 32mm diameter with a 10mm hole. Although the hole size is not too important because we're going to drill it out a bit anyway. The first thing is to drill the ball right through to allow it to slide down the stick, and I'm pretty sure that was a 12mm drill, which gave a nice tight fit but went on easily. Obviously use some calipers to measure your own stick. Ooh, misses. And choose the appropriate size drill. The ball is going to be too big to fit under all the parts, so you'll need to slice off some of the rounded end of the ball, and after a lot of experimenting I found in my case a final depth from flat to flat was 20mm. You may be lucky to find that works for you, but again you might need to use trial and error to find the optimum measurement for your particular lever. And this is what it looks like when slid onto the stick and gone hard up against that ridge. Lots of grease, and then assemble all the parts back on in the order in which you took them off. I think this was the most difficult part of the operation because you have to get the holes that take the retaining pin lined up when you're sliding on the bush's sleeve, then the bush, then the chrome part of the lever, and this is where you may gain some time. If you can remember, I said you could try to get the rubber bush off with the stick complete with its sleeves. That's because, well, certainly in my case anyway, the hole had not been drilled centrally from the factory, so it would only go back one way round. Now, although I used a split pin to line it all up, I decided to use a roll pin as the final fixing. Available from Halfords and other retail outlets, etc, etc. I went up a size to give a tight fit, which meant just drilling the hole slightly larger. I used a chisel to open out the ends of the roll pin, and then I just trimmed off the ends. It made a very tight and secure fit, I have to say. And that's it. I refitted the stick back into the gearbox, and I've probably done about 100 miles since then with no problems, and it was nice to get a standard lever back in my bestie. I'd love to hear your experience if you decide to have a go, and I hope this video will be of help if you do. So, ta-ta for now.